Hello scholars, welcome to Skill 0 Interval Notation Lesson. This is Mrs. Majors from Heron High School. So yeah, let's get into it. So first thing you need to do is make sure you downloaded this notes from our Google Classroom. It's Skill 0 Notes, and print it out. You're like, I hate papers. Well, but sometimes papers makes your life easy, especially if you can just copy down what I'm writing as your notes. I think it's going to be very, very helpful. So if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and do that and come back to the video. And now we're going to learn about interval notation, which kind of looks like this. So it's like a list of numbers, something, something, comma, something, comma, something. And we're going to learn how to go from here to here and here to here. Oh, my nails are ugly. Oh well. But before we do that, there are a few examples I already gave out for you. Letter A through G. I need you to stop this video and investigate what is happening, and then come back and we'll talk about it. Alright, so I hope you had enough time to investigate what is happening here. So there are three things we're looking at. The far left column is inequality. So we learned back in, those days, middle school. Greater or equal to, less than, equal to, greater, less than. So for example, letter D, this means x is greater or equal to 0, less than equal to 5. So any number between 0 and 5, including those two endpoints. And this one, E, x has to be less than -3. So do you include -3? No. Or x is greater than 0. Do you include 0? No. So when it's a inequality is strictly greater or less than, I need you to notice what is happening on your number line at those points, at -3 and 0. And now you tell me, what kind of circles do you see? Do you see open circle or closed circle at -3 and 0? Open circle. What's going to happen when you have an equal sign underneath it? So do you include 0 and 5 here? Yes, you do. And what happened at 0 and 5 endpoints? Closed circle. So that's one connection you should make. And if you go to the right section where it says interval notation, what is it? Interval notation is a list of numbers, a pair of numbers. And notice it goes from the smallest number, comma, the bigger number. Small number, comma, the bigger number. Do you guys see that? Yes. Yes. All right, sorry. So it's a -3, comma, that's an infinite, so it's very big number. Negative infinity, very small number, comma, 1. Sometimes you can have two interval notation like this. Number between negative infinity and -3. 0 to positive infinity. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1.5, 3, anything number between. And you're probably, what does that U mean? What does that U mean? So we're going to actually do the very last page first. That is the summary of interval notation. So what is an interval notation? It's the pair of numbers to indicate the list, or whatever, however you want to say it. So I will just give you an example. Whatever you saw at the left, the third column, negative infinity to 3, or you can have something like, I don't know, -2, comma 4, 5, comma 8, or something like that. So these are both example of interval notation. Always smaller number, comma, bigger number. Any number between those two. Smaller, comma, bigger number. Any number between those two. Smaller number, bigger number, comma, any number between those two. And you gotta remember what those parentheses and bracket does differently. So there are two types of inequality. You can have a strict inequality of greater than or less than, or you can have equal to underneath it. So when you have a strict inequality from the previous page, what kind of circle did you have? So letter B, what kind of circle do you have at 1? Open circle. What kind of circle do you have? Open circle. So when it's a strict greater or less than, you have a open circle. And once again, what does that mean? That means, do you include those endpoints or not include it? Nope, not include endpoints. So likewise, when you have a greater or equal to, less than equal to, what kind of circle did you have right here? Open circle. Closed circle. And when you have a closed circle, do you include those points? So for example, here, do you include -2? Oh, I'm like far away. Sorry. I'm confusing you. Alright, closed circle. Do you include that -3 here? Yes, you do. -3, do you include that here? Yes, you do, because there's an equal to underneath it. So we include. Include endpoints. That's what I want. Alright, now when you have an open circle and you look at interval notation, what kind of thing did you have? Did you have open circle, parentheses, or bracket? Parentheses, open circle, parentheses, -3 open circle, parentheses, 0 open circle, parentheses. So open circle goes with the parentheses. Closed circle goes with the bracket. It's not both of it. It's either that or that, that or that. Cool? Alright, now what about infinite numbers? So when you have negative infinity or positive infinity, so which is right here, one here, 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 here. How does it end? Or what kind of thing does it always go with? It always goes with the parentheses. So it always goes with the parentheses. Why would that be? If you actually think about it, it kind of makes sense. Why? Because infinite is a concept. It's like a bigger number without the bound. So if you were to do the bracket, that means you gotta include those endpoints. Well, can you include infinite points? Well, what if it's one bigger than that? What if it's one smaller than negative infinity? So that's why we cannot use bracket with the infinite numbers. So infinite numbers are positive infinity or negative infinity. It always goes with the parentheses. Infinite is a weird world. Alright, what about the U sign? So where did we see the U sign? Over here? U, U, U. What do you notice about wherever there's a U? Or. So actually, guys, U, we read it as a union. You learn about this in set theory. I actually love that unit. I still remember learning about it. I was like, that's so cool. Anyhow, for now on, U is called a union, and it means or. So over here, this means any number between negative infinity to -3, excluding those 2 points, or any number between 0 and positive infinity, excluding 0 and positive infinity, because it's all parentheses. Cool bean? Okay, so I did the summary. Now I'm going to go ahead and then pull out the answer so you can check it and then go from there. Alright, so here are the solutions for the first page, number 1 through 6. I think it's pretty easy. So look, for example, number 5, any number x between -5 and 3. So I shaded everything between -5 and 3. And -5 and 3 endpoints are equal to underneath this, so I use a closed circle. And since it's a closed circle, that means I need a bracket at both ends, and there is my interval notation. And x is less than -2, so -2 open circle, boop, or x is greater or equal to 0, closed circle at 0, boop, interval notation right there. Next page. And if I'm going too fast, you can pause it and then check your answer with it. I think most of them are pretty okay, except number 18 and 19 were a little confusing for some of you. So let me go over that with you. Alright, I'm new to this technology. I'm using something I haven't used before. Alright, so number 18, if you look at the number line, it's everything. So for interval notation, it's going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. Any number in between, so pretty much anything. Now, how are we going to write that in inequality? Well, actually, there's no like fancy way, like a best way to write an inequality, so I'm just going to say x is all real numbers. Which makes sense, it's everything, all real number. Another way you can write it is x, something like this, boop, and you're like, what is that? Alright, this is the like a fork sign is the element of, so, and then this r is the real number. So that means x is the element of real number set. That's another aka fancy way of writing it down. Number 19, if you look at number line, it's everything but -1. So how can I write inequality sign? You can write x is less than -1 or x is greater than -1. For interval notation, you can say x is -infinity to -1. Notice it's a parentheses, union, or with parentheses, -1 to positive infinity. So when you see something like this, you can just think of this as, okay, everything but -1 because there are parentheses around -1. Another way you can write number 18 is x is a element of a real number such that x is not -1. Oops, sorry. Whoa. Erase. I can't do it. I'll get there, guys. X is not equal to -1. So any number but -1. Isn't it a cool way of saying it? Okay, so I hope you guys did okay with that. Now what you're going to do is the following. So you're watching this video via Delta Math. So when you go, so you just watch this video. Now you're going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4 problems. My view looks a little different than yours. So it says graph the interval represented in interval notation on number line -2 to 5. So it says click and drag to plot. So I click at -2, drag it all the way to 5, and then click close circle to change to open circle. So what do you guys think? Open. If you need help, you can watch help video when you get stuck. Submit answer. Are you sure you want to do that? Yes, I got it correct. So I need you to go ahead and then finish number 2, 3, 4. And once you do that, Mr. Bear and I get the data of how you did it. So that kind of gives us example of that. When you go to your Google Classroom, which it might look different because I might change it. I'm filming this a week before your lesson. There is also an assignment called Tell Us About Yourself. So when you open it, it goes to Google Form. I need to make 1 to 3 minutes video telling us about who you are. We want to see your face. It's kind of like a selfie, you know. So film it using whatever device you have and then upload it here. Okay, so we want to know about you. So tell us about anything, because you know Zoom, especially if you have me in first period, you're like sleeping in, you're like didn't even do your hair, whatever. I would still love to see that, but so do that and submit it. So those are your 2 homework, I say. Okay, so finish up the Delta Math on Skill 0 video and do Tell Us About Yourself video assignment. All right, bye guys.